suspects wearing scarves over their faces.
Hello, namaste, sat sri akal, salam alaikum. मैं हूँ Gaurav Dayal from Beatfactory, and we're right now in Los Angeles, and we're with the wonderful Max WASA, who has been kind enough to give us some time. Max is like a fantastic music producer, actress right here from Hollywood, and we're going to get to know a lot of things about her and how she got into music. And a special thing is she's also an analog producer. So all of you geeks out there who love all the analog stuff, I've got a very rare situation. You've got a female producer and somebody's into analog gear. So we're going to talk all about that in just a moment. So Max, unfortunately I cannot speak to you in Hindi, although some of our audience would prefer that.
Soon I'll learn.
Soon. She's very keen to learn Hindi, and that is like a really, really cool thing. Max, we want to know how you got into music. What's your beginning? Did you grow up around music? We want to know it all. So shoot, let us know.
Well, that's a big question. Yes, I grew up in the music industry. Every single person in my family is a musician,
Right.
Grammy-winning musicians.
Wow.
So the pressure was on from a
Okay.
very early beginning.
Yeah.
I started doing voiceovers,
Right.
and my family owned a recording studio, so
Wow.
got right into it. And
You had access to a
yeah.
recording studio in your child. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was a blessing. It was
Okay.
definitely a blessing. I studied music classically.
Right.
I play French horn is my first instrument, and flute, and
Okay.
guitar and piano,
Okay.
and then vocals.
So you've basically covered it all. You're into woodwinds. I mean, you're into wind instruments. You're into string instruments. You're a vocalist. You're also a producer. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So I also hear that you had some kind of sibling rivalry with your brothers and sisters, your brothers especially,
Yeah.
which kind of became the motivation factor.
It did.
So tell us about that.
It was funny because when I first started out, I started with the flute.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, that's such a girly instrument. No offense to all the flutists out there, flautists.
Yeah, sure.
But I wanted a little bit more of a challenge,
Right.
and I was thinking, because I'm the youngest, and there's 5 of us, and there's a big age difference,
Okay.
and everybody plays. My older brothers, I was thinking, oh, who could I be better than? So I took the weakest link, and and he was a wonderful French horn player.
Right.
So I decided I'm gonna really strive to be better than he is,
Yes.
and so it was a heads-up competition all the time,
Right.
and that's the way it was in my household. It's
Wow,
always
but that's like you've got a sibling who's substantially older than you,
right.
and then you have yourself who's trying to compete with somebody. So I'm sure that that's a big challenge, and to overcome that, I'm sure you pushed yourself to a great limit, and obviously became what you became. So what was what would you say is the right age that you feel that you actually did a professional gig? Was the first time you actually went in and actually either performed at a studio or recorded? Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, my very first performance, I guess, it was for Bon Bon Ice Creams.
Okay.
And that was like a big ice cream here in America.
Okay.
And I did the voiceover for that. So that was my first time in
Okay.
the big studio, and
Right.
putting on the cans, and
Okay.
and feeling like, wow, I can hear myself.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that this vibration is coming out.
Right.
What can I do with my voice
Right.
that will project that? And that was at I think I was 6
Right.
at
Wow,
that
that's-
time.
that's
So yeah.
It could be intimidating also. I mean, you're in this vocal booth and you've got people watching you from the
Right,
other side.
right.
It's almost like you're in a zoo, and
yeah,
the
they're all
people.
standing there, with their arms
So at
crossed.
6,
and it's
that's
like,
that's really young. So I mean, that's amazing. Max got such a brilliant start at an early age. So I also want to know, now this is very important for our Indian audience, because a lot of kids who get into music, they sometimes don't get that kind of encouragement from their parents, and they either have to make it on their own or they give up.
Right.
So we want to know from you, how was was your family supportive when you went into the professional side?
Yeah, well, I really had no choice. I had
Okay.
no choice whatsoever.
Okay.
Because everybody in my family is a musician
Right.
and or in the arts.
Okay.
They really first number one is
Yeah.
education.
Right.
And being properly educated. So studying and learning the proper dynamics of music, film, art, whatever you were doing
Right.
as a performer, it
Right.
had to be 100%.
Right.
So it wasn't like, you just are thrown out there and, just
Do your thing.
Do your thing.
Mm.
This is, you must study and you must, you must study 7 days a week.
Right.
And, you have no playtime. This is your life. And that's the way it was for all of us. And
Right.
it was, it was difficult, but it was beautiful at the same time, and and of course
So Max is basically telling our audience that education is really important. Now here's the thing. Many times all of us, obviously, we today with the access to technology and everything, we go on our own route and we try to discover stuff, and that's great. It's great to be a starting point. But like what Max is trying to say is that education was a key in her life as well. Besides the fact that she's around music and she's obviously being handed down information and she's got people encouraging her, she considers education a very strong part of her, which helped her become professional. So this is important, and the fact that Max is saying this herself, I think this is important. And being a female producer, again, we want more women producers in India. So Max is a symbol everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. But for our audience, please do encourage all the girls in your house. Here's an example of somebody who's fantastic at it. So Max, we're going to move on, and we want to talk to you now about the next progression. So we know that you were part of Alice Cooper's band.
I was.
That's brilliant.
That
We want to talk about
came,
that.
That came to me in a very odd way.
Okay.
I was performing and doing jazz and blues,
Right.
and I was here in Los Angeles,
Okay.
and it was an odd Wednesday night. I'm performing with my band, kind of an empty club, and a drink came to the stage, and I don't drink,
Okay.
because you dull your mind with substances and you can't perform
There you
properly.
go.
So I was really pleased that somebody was sending something, but
Right.
but I didn't really want to take it. So my roommate happened to be there, and she said, "Can you just go over and say hello?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went over to this table, and there's all of these guys in suits, and I was like, "This is strange," and some of them looked a little rockerish.
Okay.
And I said, "Thank you very much for the drink. I don't drink, but thank you." And they said, "We really love what you're doing up there. You have pipes." And that was the second time in my life that I heard that expression. And Ronnie James Dio had said that to me once before. And for your audience that doesn't know him, he was a rock icon. He was a little man with massive power, and really studied the art of vocalization.
Right.
So when I heard that, I was like, wow, that was very nice of you. And they said, well, we're from Alice Cooper's band. And then I kind of sat back and went, oh, you are. And it wasn't just the band, but it was all of his management and the whole deal. And they said, we would love for you to come down and audition tomorrow.
Wow.
So
How did that feel?
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was booked on something else at that point.
Right.
And I was shooting actually a poster,
Right.
and with penguins in the morning. So I
Okay.
was going to be in ice with penguins, and it's not smelling good.
Wow.
So this is crazy. But I went to the audition anyway with the encouragement of people around me.
Sure.
And I went down there, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go in and do my thing. There was 1,500 girls there. Seriously,
my
the best
God.
vocalist in all of Los Angeles.
Wow.
And they're all sitting there and riffing and doing
Preparing.
their thing, and I'm like, what am I doing here? This is crazy. I'm a little jazz girl, I'm like,
Getting out of
I
place.
want to go and chart
Right.
something right now.
Okay.
Get back in the studio. I'm afraid.
Sure.
But I got out of my head,
Mhm.
and I sat there, and I went in, and I didn't really know his songs.
Okay.
But because I had educated myself,
Right.
I said, give me the charts, and I'll sight read it.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
There you go.
And I sight read, a couple of his songs. They
Yeah.
brought the band in,
Sure.
and then they asked me to go back out about hour or so later, they came out and invited me and another girl to join the tour, and so it went.
Wow. So what a
Yeah.
moment would that have been? Like, the biggest rock act of the era and of the moment, and you've been selected, and 1,500 girls, you said?
Yeah, it was crazy. There was girls everywhere, and they were brilliant. They were brilliant. So I was really happy at that moment that I had taken that time to educate myself and and have that flow.
So that came into play too. That the fact that you could sight read was an advantage, because at that minute, since you were not aware of some of the songs, you used your ability to sight read and to know music theory, and there you go. And that's a big challenge. So you come to a gig of a rock star pretty much, and then you don't know their songs, and you get you get the gig, you get the job. So that's extremely interesting, and it's brilliant to know that you took up and you came out of your comfort zone, you went into something that you wanted to do. So coming out of the comfort zone is also something that usually leads us to spaces which we don't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wonderful. That's great to know. Now, very interesting question. There are a lot of indie bands in India, and a lot of you indie bands have issues with recording drums, recording vocals, recording other instruments, guitar amps and stuff like that. Now, you're a rocker and you're a producer, so we want a one-on-one. Tell us all secrets of what mics to use.
Well, it's very interesting because mics are so important, and even here in America, people are improperly using mics. It's really depending on what the style is that you're recording. If you're recording a vocal or you're recording a guitar, those are different mics, and it's, I like to say that it's the paper meets the dome is where you want to be, right? So when you're miking, for instance, a guitar, and you are using, a flat head, or it's a spatial guitar, mic. The placement of that is really important. So not especially the actual mic, but the placement of it and where it is in location to your sound. Your dynamics is number one in anything that you do. In performance, in miking, in delivery, in mixing. It's what is it that you're trying to get across, right? So. For me, number one is vocal. That's where your key is, and then your flow to your guitar, your kick, and your bass. So I like to mic from there. I have my go-to mics. Like I'm really
Please elaborate.
like the ribbon mics. I'm in love with.
Fantastic.
And then there's your standard 57s and
so for
like
cabinets and stuff, you prefer using drawers or stuff like that?
I do. I'm so in love with them right now, and I'm not trying to sell the brand.
No, I know that
it's just my
this
personal
is not product
flavor.
placement.
No, it's not. But I'm really into that right now, and I love the way that it
sounds.
That full
sound.
richness.
So you're saying that, access is important too. So placement means that you want to have certain things which are placed on axis, which are direct, and you want to have certain other things, or maybe room mics too, to have that larger sound. I think that's how, that's the problem most people face, is that they forget about the room mic, and they forget sometimes about the distance that sound travels.
Yes, and that's a funny thing, because depending on where you're recording too. I recorded a band in my house in Florida, which was a 9,000 square foot house with 32-foot ceilings, and I had all my gear downstairs. I ran my cables up the stairs, 32 feet in the air, and isolated them, in a room above. And because it had this almost church-esque sound, that open, wide space, I had to mic properly for that. So you really need to pay attention to where it is that you're recording, what you're recording on.
So it does change. What Max is trying to say is that your environment really counts. The acoustics of the environment, and if you're really recording in a place which has got tons of reverb and tons of huge ceilings and stuff, your closed mic placements are going to be like absolutely essential. And the fact that if you are doing a venue like that, you have to really pay attention, and it's not going to be the same when you take the same mic setup and go to, say, a garage. So what Max is trying to say is that you got to pay attention to the location, and you can't really repeat what you did in one environment with the other.
Right. So you can't specifically say you need to use this mic all the time, and you know,
Right.
because you cannot do that. You must pay attention to
And
all
adapt.
of these factors in
Yeah.
order to have a good recording.
So great. So we got to know about mics. You guys keep asking about mics. There's another little secret that Max wants to tell you, that it's one more thing in the chain, you know, which makes all the difference and different combinations. So, Max,
Yeah,
tell us about
yeah.
what do you think about mic pre's?
Well, you know, you have to have a proper preamp. You know,
Right.
compression is everything.
Right.
And if you're not, you know, set up properly,
Right.
then your sound is just going to be off, and you're going to be battling yourself.
So you mean we can get like a $5,000 mic and a $100 preamp, and it's not going to
Right,
give you the
yeah.
$5,000 sound?
Exactly. You know,
Right,
and
right.
and there's all sorts of different ones. You know, there's
Yeah.
tubed, and there's there's
Yes.
all sorts
Okay.
of different ones.
Colors
There's-
that you play with.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it depends on the producer, it depends on the sound that you're looking for.
Right.
Play around with that. Have a good time.
Mhm.
Experiment, and go to the stores, see what other people are using,
Right.
hear it, feel it.
Yeah.
That's the best experience.
there's-
Is just really feeling it.
Absolutely. See, there's no other shortcut to hands-on an experience. So when you come to a studio, when you work at your school where you study music, take the time out to actually see what's in the locker. Take the time to see what's in the rack, and plug that in,
Right.
play with it, and find your sound. That's what Max is saying. That that's how she finds what she's got to do. And now she also just described using solid-state microphones and tube mics and ribbon mics. They're all, and of course dynamic, simple mics, and then condenser mics. Now they all have different colors.
They do.
And probably do you consider, like, when you go solid state, you go all out there, or do you mix and match different things for different instruments and vocals?
Yeah,
too?
I mix and match.
You do?
Because I love a rainbow.
Okay.
That's
of
the
colours, yeah.
best way to describe it. Is I really like for things to be live and full, and and if you listen to any of the recordings that I've done, you'll
Right.
notice that
Yeah.
it's all about that.
Brilliant. We're going to have Max's catalog and all her music as links below this video, so you're going to be able to easily click and find what all she does, and also find her page and communicate with her. So it's brilliant. Then very important question regarding making music and working with artists.
Mm.
Now everybody has a certain way of working.
Yes.
We want to know about the Max workflow.
Well, it depends on who I'm working with.
Okay.
I am also a manager
Okay.
and handle quite a few bands, and
Wow.
they all have different styles. When I sit down to write with somebody,
Right.
I first find out where is it that they want to go.
Right.
And for me, anything in music is about telling the story and about affecting people.
Right.
So I want to put out positive messages always. No matter what style of music it is, I want it to be a positive thing so that it's going to last for a long time, and it's
Right.
going to feed your soul and not just feed your ears.
Right.
So that's important to me. So my process is to sit down and really hash that out. Where is it that you want to go? Where do you want to build?
Okay.
And then we talk about the colors.
Yeah.
And sit down, we chart it out, we hum along, and we get out the instruments, and we get down to basics.
Fantastic. So did you see that a very important message revealed here? All of us and most of us, what we try to do is we just find an artist, we get their song, we load up the vocal on the workstation, and we start programming and producing. Hold on. Max is talking about getting to know the artist, getting to know what they want to do, what the end result is, and rather than imposing your own ideas, sometimes it's better to hear the artist, listen to their references, and actually then start the process, then bring out the instruments, then bring out the melody, hum it, feel it, live with it.
Right.
So that's so much important part of records you've heard, and this is a professional telling you, directly about it being a very important part of the whole process. So workflow also involves sitting with the artist, getting to know them.
Mhm.
And unless you feel that's important, right? You want to know the person you're working with. It's
Right.
not just a job. It just can't always be.
Right.
Well, production.
as a producer, you're producing sound.
Right.
And with sound comes emotion.
Right.
If you don't have the emotion, you have no song.
Right.
So that's really important to know exactly what it is that
Mhm.
you're trying to get across. And we have a lot of gear, and gear is awesome.
Right.
Pushing buttons rocks. Personally, I like slicing and dicing, but that's another story.
She's an analog girl.
Yeah, well, I'm old, but
Yeah.
but it's that that feeling of really writing a song and really producing it for what it is, the flavor is going to be, and the colors and where it's going to go. So that vibration is key. Stop losing yourself in getting it done and being on schedule and doing things in a logical way. There is no logic in music. Logic is a program. It's not.
That's
if you
funny.
have logic, you shouldn't be a musician. You should not be behind
Get
a
Cubase
board.
in Pro Tools. She doesn't mean that. Yeah. No, but of course we get your point. The idea is to actually go with the flow, trust your intuition, and that's a key process for professionals. And they know that. See, this is the difference between amateurs and pros. They know this fact, and they don't really try to cut records by the hour. They try to cut records by feeling something. They feel it's there and it's done, and then they move on. But they don't chock-a-block do stuff, and that's what's important for getting good results, for getting stuff which is natural. Now, this is a India-only question, I think, but you're wearing a bindi, so I'm sure you've heard a couple of Bollywood songs, one or two.
Okay, I've definitely.
Tell us about your love for Bollywood, or your hate for it.
No, I adore everything India.
Okay.
Yes, namaste. I am a Reiki practitioner. That's
Wow.
my other end of my world.
Wow.
So I feel a very strong connection to that.
Yeah.
Bollywood is fantastic, and Bollywood sounds are even better.
Oh, thank you. There you go. There you go.
So yeah, I'm in love with all of that. I'm Egyptian.
Okay.
So I have, that
Roots.
the roots in that.
Similar music scales.
Definitely,
So you appreciate them.
I do.
That's so nice
I
to know.
love it.
I know my audience thinks that I think differently of Bollywood here, but there you go. What we belong to, the culture we come to, is greatly and deeply appreciated here. And to know that you've imbibed so many things, not only music but also Reiki, which is a science I think which originates in India. It's good to know that, and we also want to know about that side of you. And there's something we were discussing earlier. We were talking about how you use Reiki for training. You're also a vocal coach, and that's like, guys, we can't even get like something done in a day, like one job. And here's this lady who's like just doing so many things. It's like just making me feel bad. You should stop procrastinating and listen to her and see what else she's doing. So tell us about that, the value that you add to to people who come to you for learning vocals. How do you use? What's your process, including Reiki?
Well, number one with Reiki, it's vibration. So anything that vibrates is going to have energy,
Right.
and energy is healing. So we, as musicians, as artists, as producers, as engineers, as from nuts to bolts, it's about vibration. And again, the message that we're getting across, and that must be a positive thing. So if it's positive in your ear, and you feel a positive vibration, you are going to feel it in your soul. You're going to want to buy music. You're going to want to, sing correctly. You're going to want to sing from your soul and with spirit and love, and it's going to be a harmonious planet.
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful, thought and process, I would say. Max, we're just trying to get you to India, and everybody's gonna go crazy once they watch this, and we want to do workshops. So would you like to come to India and visit us at Beatfactory and do those workshops with us and interact with the audience? Dying to meet you now. Max, you're a producer yourself, but I'm sure there are people you're interested in, people you like, people you follow. So spill the beans. Let us know the guys you follow.
I've grown up in this business, so I've watched a lot, and I'm so blessed to have been in the studio with so many great producers. There's Mike Klink, who is actually working with one of my bands right now. Mike Klink is famous for Guns N' Roses, as you know.
Wow.
And all of
yes, of course. He's done the mix for those guys and stuff. Yeah, I remember.
Just all of them.
Fantastic.
Every one of those amazing
Brilliant.
records.
There you go.
So there's Mike Klink and Ross Hogarth and Anthony Esposito, who's of Scenic Arts. A brilliant rock producer, and
Fantastic.
the things that are coming out of his studio are amazing, so I'm excited for that. And also, I want to encourage the female producers, and there are not very many of us, So please start studying. Get with Beatfactory and study, and it's an amazing field, and we can make some changes. So I'm encouraging those girls. And if you have any questions, come on and ask me about
What
it.
more do you want? It's coming from the lady herself. That's what we want. We want more producers in India. There are a few, I know, and we get very few female students, and that's not a good thing. We really want more people to come out. Even if you're not a student, you come and join the forum. We have so much information for all of you to come and access. And here you have somebody to answer your questions. So come on over and be part of Beatfactory. That's all the questions we have for now. And we'll catch up soon with you. Max is going to be here to answer some of the questions that you put up. So we're going to get Max to spend some more time and answer the specific questions you have for her on our forum. And I'm going to put down the website, Max's work, all the stuff that she's doing. So connect with her, and let's make it happen. And let us know your response about this interview. And like I said, ask Max. Ask what you want to ask. So I'll be signing out now. Namaste.